The breaking out of war between Israel and Palestine has caused a lot of uproar in all parts of the world. While some say it is war, others view it as genocide, as massacre, ethnic cleansing, while others try to take a neutral stand on this issue. To understand the Israel-Palestine conflict, we must first know the historical context of the region. This conflict has a long and intricate history. The history of this region dates back thousands of years. It has been crossroad of civilizations with various empires and cultures leaving their mark. This includes the ancient Hebrews who established their kingdom in this area. In the 19th century, the region was a part of the Ottoman Empire. During this time, a sense of national identity began to emerge among both the Jews and the Arabs. The idea of a Jewish homeland, known as Zionism, gained traction in the late 19th century. After World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed and the British took control of the territory, administering it as the British Mandate of Palestine. During this period, tensions between Jewish and Arab communities grew as Jewish immigrants increased. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. The plan was accepted by Jewish leaders but rejected by the Arab leaders, leading to the First Arab-Israel War in 1948. The conflict reached a turning point in 1948 when Israel declared its war, which saw the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and the establishment of the State of Israel. Over the following decades, multiple Arab-Israeli wars occurred, further shaping the conflict. The Six-Day War in 1967 resulted in Israel's occupation of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and the East Jerusalem. From Israel's perspective, the conflict revolves around security and the right to exist as a Jewish state. They highlight historical persecution of Jews as a reason for the necessity of the Jewish homeland. Israeli governments say that they have been concerned about terrorism and threats to their citizens. The concept of Palestinian national identity has developed over time, with Palestinian Arabs living in the region for centuries. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and the subsequent conflicts have significantly impacted the Palestinian narrative. The political landscape of Palestine is divided, with the Palestinian Authority governing parts of West Bank and Hamas controlling the Gaza Strip. The division between Fatah and Hamas has added complexity to Palestinian politics. From the Palestinian perspective, the conflict revolves around issues of self-determination and statehood. Palestinians emphasize the right to return for refugees, the end of Israel occupation, and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. Speaking about the ongoing issues, a major source of contention in the Israel-Palestine conflict revolves around territorial disputes. These disputes are deeply rooted and have contributed to the ongoing tensions in the region. The West Bank and the Gaza Strip are two territories where Palestinians seek statehood. While the Palestinian Authority governs parts of the West Bank, Hamas controls the Gaza Strip. The growth of Israeli settlements in West Bank is a point of contention. Israel sees this as a part of its security and territorial strategy, while the international community often views these settlements as obstacles to peace, often views this as illegal settlements. Attacks, or should we say terrorist attacks, and insurgency by Israel military operations on Palestinians who have no weapons or military have been ongoing concerns. Gaza in particular has faced strict blockades and restrictions on movement of goods and people, which have had a profound impact on the living conditions of its residents. Earlier this October, a conflict erupted between Israel and Hamas, the militant group that is in control of Gaza since 2006. This conflict began when Hamas launched rocket attacks into Israel, which prompted a swift Israeli military response. The Israel cabinet officially declared war on Hamas one day after the initial attack. Israel also ordered the evacuation of over 1 million Palestinian civilians in North Gaza, who were then bombed and killed. These events have sparked global solidarity with Palestine, raising questions about the fairness of a conflict where only one side possesses a significantly stronger military and weaponry. The extensive airstrikes from Israel are leading to thousands of deaths and have caused many to view the situation not as conventional war but as a humanitarian crisis. The bombing of Gaza's Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital and the tragic loss of lives, including children and the medical personnel, have fueled international outrage. The Israel also bombed the Gaza's oldest church and claimed a number of lives. Israel also bombed a huge residential tower, killing the civilians in it. It bombed the mosque, killing and injuring people who took refuge there after losing their homes in the bombings. Propagandist efforts from Israel have included spread of fake news such as claims that Palestinian resistant groups beheaded Israeli babies. The Israel army itself later declined this allegation. Gaza is currently facing shortages of water, fuel and essential supplies due to the Israeli aid blockage. Israel's restriction on the flow of aid, coupled with the destruction of infrastructure, have left Gaza's population trapped and distressed. In a span of just 1 week, Israel employed various military tactics, including the use of white phosphorus and extensive bombing campaigns, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in the region. What is the international community doing? The US voted against Gaza's ceasefire resolution at the United Nations. In 1974, India became the first non-Arab state to recognize Palestine Liberation Organization as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. While India has officially expressed solidarity with Palestine, recent developments have brought to light a dilemma. On one hand, there have been tweets from certain leaders affirming their support for Israel when it faced attacks. However, these very leaders maintain silence when Israel's actions result in significant loss of life and suffering in Palestine. As the world witnesses the horrific scenes in Palestine, the people all over the world, irrespective of their leaders' official stances, have taken to streets, raising their voices in solidarity with Palestine and advocating for an immediate ceasefire. This prolonged Israel-Palestinian conflict often receives limited media attention, which overlooks the enduring loss of innocent lives due to Israel occupation. Drawing parallels between historical atrocities like the Holocaust and the current events such as the war crimes and narratives that demean Palestinians highlights the urgency for empathy towards those affected by occupation, action towards those affected by occupation. The media's reaction to the atrocities happening on the people of Palestine is leading to question if they would react the same way during the Holocaust. Bloodshed is on both sides, is what we are hearing from people who say they want peace. They must also not forget the ice cream trucks that carried the bodies of dead. They must not turn away the visuals of children who have not even completed a year on earth, lying in pools of blood and wrapped in white. They must not turn away the parents who had to gather the scattered parts of their dead children. They must not forget the piles of dead bodies between which a press conference was held. They must not forget the child's cry for help. These images are etched into our minds, a reminder of the depths of cruelty that hate can commit that surpasses even the darkest chapters of fiction. While some argue that the recent events were sparked by Hamas, it is crucial to remember the historical context. Decades of Israel occupation have subjected Palestinians to suffering and oppression. What is Israel doing in the name of self-defense? Demeaning the lives of Palestinians, committing war crimes? It is seen that they are killing all the civilians of Palestine. Justice for the lives lost remains a critical aspect, often overshadowed by the silence of the world, the hypocrisy of the world leaders, and the insufficient media coverage.